say. Oh,
All right. Welcome to True News 365. Now I'm going to cover this video that's on here. I'm going to speak a little bit about what's going on here today. These are three atheists on the Stereo Podcast app. And the last guy, Blast, is a new guy. So I won't be referring too much to him, although he seems pretty much as clueless as the others. But the first one is a ball of profanity who just basically breathes fire and vomit and diarrhea from his mouth constantly. He is practically a waste of time to have any kind of civil discourse. He's basically has the temperament of a 3-year-old in a kindergarten schoolyard. Arguments, conversation, important philosophical discourse is just flies out the window. He's more on a crayons and paper, pencil, crayons, and Play-Doh level of conversation with regard to the issues of the big ticket items about God, about truth, life, death, all that stuff. He doesn't take any of that very seriously. I think he's pretty much traumatized, a burnt out brain, issues. The guy just needs serious prayer. And unfortunately for him, this just goes way by. The other guy is a young guy. I have him on another video as his name is Kyle. He was down as Kyle, and he's an atheist, and he claims to be Christian, but there's anything that he says and he talks about his understanding of Christianity that would lead anyone to ever think possibly on any state of mind that he was once Christian. He was probably somebody who was dragged to church, and at this point, it's pretty evident that they have a serious hatred and a fear and running from God. What happened was that with their hatred towards me is basically fueled by the fact that I recorded a video and posted it up to my Facebook, up to my YouTube, the one on the Satanic Temple. And a gentleman who was a secular humanist joined that temple, and he tried to pretend that he was proud of being that member in his ignorance, because he believes that the church holds to equitable and justice and all these things. But I tried to explain to him and show them that secularism really is contradicts itself, and it's very contradicting, very immoral, as it turns out. I have a post and a blog on that on TrueNews365.com. You can check that out. My video exposing this confusion is pretty outspoken. It's pretty out there. It's pretty much clear cut. These folks basically did not like the fact that I videotaped, that I recorded this atheist saying that pedophile thoughts and fantasies are okay, that there's nothing wrong with them. That's what he admitted on the video. That wasn't coerced. If anything, he doubled down on it. And in previous subsequent podcasts he has done, these two guys, I believe, have also stated the same thing. That's at that point, that's where the anger comes out. And it's an amazing mental experimentation when you look at it, because no one coerced them to say that. Nobody told them that they should. However, because they can't defend their worldview, because in order to say that there's something wrong with those thoughts, because they know that this goes along with what Christ talked about, that evil thoughts can sometimes brew into, manifest itself into physical sin. Because of that truth being exposed, that they clearly want to run from and deny, they have nothing else but to lash out at the messenger, at the person who believes these things, because they want to dig in their heels. They want to click their heels and pretend that truth is not truth. They want to, I've had some of these guys admit that they can't know the number of fingers on their heads, on their hands. They can't really say indeterminately that they actually really do exist, or that they know what they're saying, or it's just the the efforts at running away from truth just gets them into a real mess. Okay. And when you bear these things out in argumentation, they recognize this. And so at this point, they're pretty tired of my doing that on these podcasts, and they no longer, they've basically reached the point where they just need to cancel me, because the people that are the listeners on their podcasts are basically seeing them choke and not able to answer any of these questions. And so what else is there to do but to lash out, hate? And the worst part about it, and the reason why I'm not just exposing this nonsense, but also the reason why I do that is to demonstrate how they will falsely accuse and how far they'll go, not just to curse you and to malign you and to berate you and talk about these things, but to falsely make false accusations and to twist your words in order to uplift their morality, which is subjective and they can't argue for in the first place. But they're going to try and to do that by stepping on your neck, by putting your character down and say things that you didn't say and lead the conversation in the way that you did not intend for it to go. You're going to see that happen right here. And so I'm not so much mocking their mentality and the way they think. I'm doing that to shake people off from their ability or to their position of going in the same direction, hoping that some people will recognize this is not where you want to go, that we must embrace truth instead of lies. So that's my focus here. That's really what I want to do mostly. That's my intention on here, is to teach. Okay, so let's start listening into this. And I have to warn you, just the language that are coming from these two individuals are serious verbal diarrhea. This is for adults, basically.
And I find it really fucking hilarious that you want to walk around as like some virtuous motherfucker being like, actually, I'm the most intelligent motherfucker ever. Like, every person who has been religious or not has had the fucking same 10 ideas that you fucking trot out, dude. They're not fucking original. Go get some new fucking material, because I'm about to lose my fucking mind. And
the problem is that they've never answered my material. They can never come up with answers. And so until that happens, I'll have to keep repeating it.
I'm muting your messages because I know what they're going to say. Oh, he's a pedophile because
Yeah, you see, at this point, he admitted that he's going to start canceling my messages. That's all he can do, because he can't answer them. And people are listening, and they're seeing that he can't answer them. So naturally, that's what he needs to do.
You call it something, dude. You've never had a goddamn original thought in your life, so you can fuck off right out of here, dude. I don't give a shit.
So all the drama of being angry and being I'm so offended, I'm so angry, I'm so tired, and all of that is drama. That's basically what you see with far left people and people, little skinny dudes wearing masks and complaining and needing safe spaces. That's the same thing that we see here. You can't stick and stand by with convictions any of your thoughts. So you have to dismiss the ones that are embarrassing you, the ones that are tripping you. You have to make it seem, or toss a table, spill something, kick and scream and scratch, because where else are you going to go other than to answer?
Thanks for having me up, Blast.
You can fuck off, dude.
I just
don't give a shit about you.
I'm not gonna stick around. I can't. I'm at work and I have to. At all on this issue. No, BX has no standing at all on this issue. What I was saying is, no, we do not. Kyle was exactly right. We do not. Thoughts cannot be a crime. That's
okay. So what I said was, in that video, I never said that thoughts will be a crime or that they need to be a crime. I never even added those opinions. All I said was that they're wrong, and it is wrong to have pedophile fantasies, and it is wrong to have murderous fantasies or thoughts. Okay? It only makes sense, common sense, right? and basically that's the Christian worldview. And I demonstrated all the places where the Lord speaks about these thoughts. He said we're going to be judged for every word, thought, and deed, right? That these things are where the evil, the fallenness of mankind, this is where it comes from. It brews from within, and then, it can come out onto the surface. But did I ever indict anybody? Did I ever say that's no, I didn't go anywhere beyond the fact in the video, and it's clearly demonstrated that I never said that, okay, I never said that the guy in the video was a pedophile, or that he had fantasies, or that he had joined this type of thinking or whatever, or that there should be thought crimes. This is what he's including here. And of course, he has to put weight to someone who can't defend himself, because not only is he not on the panel, he's also not able to have his messages played, because you have this constant nonsense going on.
It's ridiculous. We judge people based on their actions, what they do. I've had really bad thoughts in my life before. But to my credit, not always, but to my credit, I didn't act on them. Should I go to prison? Should I be punished? Like, what are you...
That wasn't ever the argument.
Talking about? This is totalitarianism at its most extreme. You cannot you cannot accuse people of thought crimes. A thought cannot be a crime. You ding dong. Excuse me, I'm sorry. What's more is no, hold on. What's more, dude, of course not. He's got, Bible brain. It's an uncurable condition of delinquency, intellectual delinquency. What's more is X Blues has no ground to stand on this issue. Calling other people pedophiles? Get the fuck out of here, dude.
There you go. You see, that's the false accusation. No one ever called anyone. If you watch the video, you'll see no one ever called anyone a pedophile. The argument was, are pedophilic thoughts okay? Are they wrong? Are they right? Okay? The guy doubled down. He said there wasn't anything wrong with them, right? Nobody was calling for crimes. Nobody was calling anything a crime. That's not even an opinion that I was entering in the conversation, but this is what they have to do.
You're the kind of guy that makes the argument that women should be allowed to be married off, sold off at the age of 12, you pervert.
Now here he's going to get into another conversation I had on a podcast where basically I exposed that in religious context, in the biblical context, Mary might have been 13 or 15 years old when she married Joseph, and that it was common practice for the kids to be married off to other people that the families knew, and they would marry this way, arranged marriages, which continues on all over the world. And I made the comparison that in many cases there were 18, 19-year-olds or 13 or 15-year-olds back in those cultures that are perhaps more mature than the 31-year-olds that are playing video games in their mother's basements, okay, which everyone recognizes. And it's in terms of family values, in terms of cooking and cleaning and working and taking on the responsibility, and in the comparison of the cultures. So that turned into this.
So get the fuck out of here. You have no ground. That's fucking pedophilia. And you support a book that promotes this exact kind of thing. So what are you talking about? Going around calling other people pedophiles?
So the argument is laid. Of course, he cannot be challenged because all he can do is spew and fall, scratch, and cry and make noises. The argument that the Bible promotes pedophilia. How absurd is that? But coming from someone like him, it has to bounce right off of you, because look where it's coming from. Practically a child in a man's body.
When you admit to people all the time how you want to fuck a 12-year-old, or you're okay.
Okay, now what was that about? Okay, somebody admitting what? Okay, I mean, this is why I'm making this video, because he's out there making these accusations, and they're basic. What he's making, these accusations are criminal, and they're beyond immoral. To wrongly put put someone in that situation, and you basically saying that, wait, this is what he's saying, and yet the person can't. You're canceling their messages.
With people marrying and fucking 12-year-olds? Get the fuck out of here, dude. There is no greater hypocrite in the world than a religious person. A little bit more, because I had a lot to say that I didn't get to say in my rebound messages. God sent. He thinks that he write God's words, write basically scripture. But I mean, that's a contradiction, dude. No, a little bit more here. They studied this. They studied this. They put people in a scanner. God sent thinks he's God. God sent thinks he's God, and so does BX Blues. You will never find them being able to tell you, hey BX, hey God sent. Don't leave a comment. I mean, I don't really give a fuck. It's not my show, but don't.
So there you go. So he doesn't want any comments, okay, and he's done that on his shows as well. And at this point, there's a number of them. There's at least 3 or 4 of these so-called atheists that will not entertain any kind of thoughts, any kind of comments from me, because they know that I embarrass them. I bring up scenarios where they have to continue obfuscate and just continue ignoring and passing the buck on and never answering. I think it's Kyle in another video called I Don't Know-ism, where he's talking, he can never answer anything. I presented questions to him, and he claims to have answered it 52 times, yet not one answer during the course of the video. It just opened, showing the inconsistencies in all this. This is a teaching moment. It basically, what is the moral of the story? Don't think the way these guys think. Okay, the groundwork, whatever reason that they hang on to these argumentations, or these ways of thinking, whatever that is, get away from it, because it just makes no sense. It's foolishness.
Don't come at me. I don't want to hear anything you have to say. Tell me, good sir, don't tell me anything, but tell me, is there anything that you disagree with God about? Anything at all? Oh my God, somehow I know for a fact that no, there's nothing that God would say or do that you do not directly agree with. That means that you and God are the same person. God is not distinct from you. And they proved this scientifically. They put people in a brain scanner. And they found that the part of the brain that lights up when you imagine what God thinks is exactly the same part of the brain that lights up when you imagine or when you consider what you yourself thinks. Do you get that? Do you get that? That means that God is yourself. God is yourself inside your mind. So, and God just has it amplified to an exaggerated degree because he's a narcissist. And he thinks he's God. He said, dude, what's the matter with you? Do you hear the words that come out of your mouth? He said, my brain is irrelevant. I don't remember his exact words. My mind doesn't matter. My mind is not, my mind. He basically said that his thoughts don't matter, whatever, which is hilarious in the first place. And then he said, I speak the clothes of other people who are theistic, who also walk around with this mindset in their mind. Without even realizing it. It's subconscious for them, whereas for God sent, it's what's the opposite of subconscious? Conscience? Like
Shiva said that he is changeless, deathless, and he is the universe. And a deity has made a claim that, so you have to believe it, BX, right? I mean,
Shiva says something, and so I have to believe what Shiva says? I have no idea where this guy's coming from.
Kyle's right on here. It's just there's no hope. To try to appeal to these guys with reason or logic is a futile exercise. You just, from my view, you just ridicule them with laughter about their silliness that they espouse constantly. Maybe I'll be back up in a little bit. I appreciate you having me. I do have to go. I'll be down there. I'll be listening.
So there you have it. There is the impulse, the lack of impulse control that is atheism, and that's what we're dealing with basically. They have to falsely accuse. They have to bend the things that you say and present it out there, and they have to lash out and get all emotional in order to get people to look at them. Like, look at me, look at me. All right? Why they make no sense, why they can't argue, they can't argue for what they believe. And that's that. So, hey, it is what it is. And we continue forward. For those who can listen, and like I said, like I always say, when I get on these forums, I usually do not speak for the people on the panel, but the people that are listening, because hopefully they can listen back and forth, and they'll pick up on the common sense, and they'll recognize, okay, I recognize what he's saying, what this guy's saying. These are facts. These other guys don't seem to be very well adjusted. Okay, so thanks for listening, and until next time, God bless.
Anchor.fm/DRU News 365.